Hey guys, Jeremy here, and I owe you an apology. If you've been following the channel at all, you'll notice that we've really struggled to have content out this winter, and that's my fault. I thought I'd planned enough for the winter time, and I thought I was prepared to get kind of socked in with the weather, and that proved not to be the case. So we've been struggling to get out and get any kind of content filmed, and we'll continue to be for another month or so. Hopefully next winter I'll have a little more experience here in the cold, and I'll also have my firearms license so we can do some hunting. In the meantime, I've got some old reviews that we put together while I was still living in New Orleans that we'll just edit together and get out there just so we have something to look at. And fingers crossed, as soon as the ice melts on the water, I'm going to get back into fishing. And as soon as I get the firearms license from the state, I'm going to try to get in the woods and bag a tom turkey. But in the meanwhile, here's a couple of reviews that we filmed while I was still in Louisiana. Hey guys, Jeremy from Lucky Hat Outdoors, and I was walking through my local Lowe's last week when I stumbled across a closeout display of solar powered lanterns that were advertised originally for $30 some odd, and they had them on sale for $8. And I am both addicted to gadgets and in love with the concept of solar gadgets, and at $9 I snatched one of these up and figured we'd take it out in the field at the end of the week and see if it actually works. So this is a hybrid light, and they actually had two things in the display. They had this lantern slash flashlight combo, and they had a headlamp combo, but this was the most discounted at I think it was $8, $9, and I don't even remember what the original cost was, and I haven't looked up much data on it. They say it provides 75 lumens in both the flashlight and as a lantern, and they advertise it as having an 8-hour runtime on high and a 40-hour runtime on low. So let's break it open. Let's see what's in here. Which I know I can't be the only guy on the face of the planet that hates these blister packs. These are seriously... And I'm complaining. Look how easy that opened. So okay, we have a USB cord, and they say, in fact they do, they have an outlet here for USB charging, and I guess you can charge the battery. According to the back, you can both charge the battery using a USB port, or you can charge your cell phone. And you have the solar panel. I assume this is a hook that will unfold. And a hook, alright. It's a flashlight. And a lantern. Okay, so this actually locks in place. It actually has a rotating bezel to lock it in place. That's pretty cool. And there we go. It does have a little bit of a charge. So we have a low setting and a high setting, which is fairly bright. Cool. It's not very heavy. It's a little bit big, but we'll see. I'm going to go ahead and set it outside in the sun and see if it gets full charge. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this on an upcoming paddle trip that we have in place of my existing light, and I'm going to see if it'll charge my cell phone, charge my GoPro. We'll just see what we can get done with this and see if it actually works. And if it does, I'll dig up some more information, get you a website, and if it's a good product, we'll go ahead and tell you how to get one. Hey guys, I know I earlier said that we're going to take the hybrid light out in the field and actually use it on a camping trip, and I did pack this up for a recent camping trip, but unforeseen circumstances forced us out of the field before it got dark. So I did not get a chance to test this in the field. So we're going to have to run it through its paces here in the house and in the backyard and do the best we can to test it outside of field conditions. And what I figured I'd start with is there is a USB port on the side, and they advertise this as being able to charge phones and other devices. I have my old iPhone, my really old iPhone, and it is completely dead. It does nothing. It hasn't had a charge in quite a while. So we'll just go ahead and plug the USB port in and see if we can get any juice to it. And look at there. So we do, hopefully you can see the Apple logo. So you do get a little bit of juice. And if you didn't see the Apple logo, you can see the empty battery there, hopefully. So we do get a little bit of juice. So I'm just going to leave it here. And it is 12:40. And let's see if we can get a full charge on this old iPhone and before this device's battery runs dead. And once I run the battery out, we'll find a place we can put it out in the sun and see how well the solar panel fills the battery. Alright guys, it's 3:45. So what's that, 2 hours, 3 hours since I put the phone on the charge. And I'm actually pleasantly surprised to see that it's phone's at 90%. So this phone was absolutely dead when we started this gig, and now it's at 90%, which is, in my opinion, is fairly successful for this little device. So the game plan is I'll let it continue until it fills the phone to a full 100%, and then I'm going to turn on the light and see if I can empty the battery out pretty good. And once I've done that, we'll see how long it takes for the solar charger to charge everything back up. So I'd be lying if I told you I can remember what the low setting was for this device, but they say the high, which it's on now, is 75 lumens. And the camera, I don't believe, is doing it quite justice, but this is actually pretty good for, you know, for a lantern type. So this is the high, and that's about 75 lumens. And this is the low. And both are pretty functional for camp usage. Again, this isn't a tactical light, it's a lantern. So that's actually, I'm fairly impressed with that light. It would work great outdoors, or especially inside a tent. As far as the lantern itself, you know, that's a little bit harder to judge. It does put out a fair amount of light on the high setting. So, see, that's low, and that's high, and both of them seem to light the room fairly well. So what we're going to do is, it is 9:35 by my watch. I'm going to go ahead and set this on low, and I'm going to set it on a shelf over here and use it as kind of a night light, and we'll see if it's still running in the morning. And once we've got the battery nice and dead, we'll throw it outside with the solar panel and see how long it takes to get charged up. So there you have it. We'll move on to part 2 or 3. So it's 9:45 and light's still shining. My wife turned it off briefly at 6. Here, let's put it to the real test. There you go, son. See if a toddler can kill it. So my wife turned it off briefly at 6, and I turned it back on, I guess, around 8. So it was down for about 2 hours. But it's run on the high setting for 10 hours and showing no sign of slowing down. So I've still got a ways to go before I empty the battery. So based on that, with a full charge and having charged a completely dead iPhone, I'm pretty confident that you could get at least a weekend's worth of use out of this with the battery that's in it, at least fresh out of the box. So we've taken our little lantern and we've run it all night and it stayed lit, and we've charged a completely dead iPhone to 100% and it stayed good. And now, if you watch the LEDs, there's a little flashing red light there which says it's getting low on power. So we're going to go ahead and test the solar panel. And I thought I had a good sunny day to do it, but it's summer in New Orleans, and as you can hear, a thunderstorm just popped up. But I'm going to go ahead and throw this outside anyway and just see what kind of charge we can get on it in the next 24 hours. So it's 2:30 in the afternoon now, and I'll see you guys 2:30 tomorrow afternoon. So hey guys, welcome to the new Lucky Hat Studio. I wanted to take a few minutes to finish up my review of the Hybrid Light solar lantern. As you remember, when we were in New Orleans, I put it out on the back porch to charge via the solar panel for 24 hours. Well, I forgot it, and it stayed out for 48 hours instead of 24. And it did charge, and that was despite cloudy days and a few thunderstorms, but something interesting happened. And I don't know if you can see it, but there's still a little bit of water inside the light. It was sitting under cover, so it only really got rained on when the storms were bad. It wasn't directly under a downpour, and still water got inside, but it still worked. In fact, it hasn't really burnt out, and it's still functioning properly. So it charged, and despite the fact that water got into it, it still functioned. So I really don't know how to call it. From what I've seen, it puts out plenty of light. It's fairly lightweight. It charges fairly easily. It runs for a long time, and clearly it still functions after it gets wet. But I am a little nervous about the existing water that got into the light. So I don't believe this is waterproof in any way, shape, or form. So I'm going to call it a maybe. It seems like a neat toy, and it seems like a neat function, and I'm going to keep it around and actually take it out in the field and use it a few times and maybe get back with you on it. But with the fact that water got into it when it got rained on, I've got to say I can't recommend paying full price for it. But I found it on closeout for like $8. If you can find it like that, I'd suggest getting a couple. So there you have it.
It's John from Lucky Hat Outdoors. If you like what you see, check us out on Facebook and Instagram, and check out our videos on YouTube. See more of these glorious fish.
Oh, this dude catches one, and now they're glorious fish. Glorious.